Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news. In the next few weeks, the Healthcare Financing Administration will be announcing the hundreds of thousands of Medicare beneficiaries who may lose their managed care health coverage at the end of this year. Remember, nearly 1 million seniors lost their HMO-provided Medicare Plus choice coverage last year. Do you know if your Medicare coverage could be canceled? And what would you do if it is? In a moment, I'm going to give you a toll-free phone number I want you to write down. I want you to telephone for a copy of something called the Guide to Health Insurance for People with Medicare. It's absolutely free, and it'll help answer your questions about Medicare, including the limitations and the exclusions, plus what to do if your HMO-provided Medicare supplement policy is canceled on you. You'll also learn about a Medicare supplement policy that can never, ever be canceled, available from United American Insurance Company. United American has no connection whatever with Medicare. So let me have your address at the end of this broadcast, and I'll see that you get this helpful information promptly. It'll cost you nothing. Just telephone 1-800-424-7000. Ask for the Health Insurance Guide. I'll know what you mean. The 800 number is 424-7000. By now you know, just before 9 this morning, New York time, a plane crashed into the side of the World Trade Center, exploding on impact. Minutes later, another plane crashed into the second tower and exploded. Subsequently, both towers collapsed. We were next to hear from the Pentagon that it had been hit. Suddenly, we were in an undeclared war with enemies that are already dead. Speculation is inevitable. It's very difficult to guard against an enemy whose religion teaches him that to die for his convictions is a shortcut to heaven. No presently known connection, but at the top of the list of avowed world terrorists, of course, is Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden warned 3 weeks ago that he would carry out an unprecedented attack on the United States because of our support of Israel. If somebody had a sadistic sense of humor, he might note that this date is 9/11. President Bush flew home from Florida immediately. Will be a long time sorting out and confirming details as to casualties aboard the plane and in the buildings. Any speculation is premature. Of course, the cost will be horrendous. American Airlines says it lost 2 airplanes this morning carrying 156 people. 50,000 people are regularly employed in those twin towers. Skyscrapers for all of our engineering cannot be made safe from crazy people in airplanes. And with any upper-level damage, the elevators are the first to go. People were immediately seen jumping from the towers before the towers collapsed. In Washington, D.C., the White House, the Capitol, and the State Department have been evacuated. The FBI, with responsibility for our nation's internal security, did have contingency plans for such as this. As evidence mounted that 1 or more planes had been an airliner commandeered by terrorists, all planes in the United States were grounded for the duration. Many of our airliners in flight are diverting to Canada, landing there. For several years now, America has had a terrible, terrible nightmare relating to our vulnerability to fanatics. This morning we awakened and the nightmare had come true. From this day, the American safe haven for the world will not be that anymore. J. Edgar Hoover saw it coming. It was he who said, quote, "In our nation's most vaunted tolerance for all peoples, our enemies have found our Achilles heel." Now, page 2. I want to tell you about a company that really does put the customer first. Liberty Medical. Liberty Medical. Do you know that they deliver diabetes testing supplies? They deliver to your door, and the delivery is free. But that's just the beginning. Liberty stocks all of the major brands, more than 200 products. Surely they have yours, and if they don't, they'll get it for you. Liberty is a Medicare provider. That means they bill Medicare. They file the claim forms. You have no paperwork. You have no paperwork and no upfront costs. And they'll even call when it's time to reorder and see how you're doing. That kind of attention you'd thought disappeared with the milkman. Maybe that's why Liberty has hundreds of thousands of pleased customers. So if you have diabetes, and if you're on Medicare, call Liberty toll-free at 1-800-333-4080 for free information. The 800 number is 333-4080. 333-4080. Well, the world goes round and round just the same. On the political front, Elizabeth Dole is going to return to politics, and in her home state, North Carolina, she will seek to replace retiring Senator Jesse Helms. In the spotlight, unless this is another Michael Jordan head fake, he will return to playing basketball for the love of the game, he says. He says he'll make an announcement within 10 days. Medical, anybody suffering MS, multiple sclerosis, knows the symptoms: muscle weakness, impaired balance, fatigue, and that the symptoms seem worse in warmer weather. Well, now patients may be able to relieve symptoms by wearing cooling vests, which lower the body temperature. Details in the September issue of Neurology. 300 healthcare professionals have converged today to try to figure out why there is so much cardiovascular disease, strokes, and that sort of thing in Tennessee and in Mississippi and thereabouts. They're going to try to figure out why. The suspect causes include barbecue. Mississippi is worst. Tennessee is second. The meeting today is in Nashville. The United States Postal Service wants another rate increase. Wants to hike the price of a postage stamp to 37 cents next year. In Beijing, China, a woman infected with AIDS from blood she received in a transfusion spread the disease to her husband and her daughter before she died. And now the husband and daughter have been awarded $2 million. Today we learned that AIDS is being spread among high school students in the Central African Republic by their teachers. UNICEF officials confirm that the average age of female activity in that country is 15, and their first date is often with their teacher. Up to half of that country's teachers will die of the disease during the next 4 years. Miss America contestants this year will be tested for brains as well as beauty. They'll be expected to know something about current events. Well, 10 of the 51 contendants were questioned by a reporter. Only one of them gave the right answers to all 5 questions, and that was Miss Minnesota. 2 of them couldn't even name the present vice president. And one of them, Miss Illinois, struggled with the second question and just gave up on the rest. Page 3.
I'll never forget her first baby steps. She walked right into my arms. The first book she ever read, she read to me. The first skin knee, she wanted me to make it all better. I took her to her first day of school. She came to me when she had trouble with her homework, and when she learned that cooties aren't real. When that boy from math class wouldn't stop pulling her hair, I was the one she came to. And when word about the birds and the bees started to travel in her circle, she came to me. So why didn't she come to me the first time someone passed her a joint?
Don't wait for your child to come to you when it comes to drugs. Talk to them first. If you're not sure where to begin, call 1-800-729-6686 for a brochure. You'll learn all you need to know to take that first step. It's not too early to talk to your kids about drugs. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
On Ruskin Street in Springfield, Virginia, the B.L. Williamses are celebrating their wedding day plus 75 years. My goodness. Somebody's been scrawling graffiti in Caldecott in South Wales in England. Somebody using a paintbrush has been smearing parked cars with naughty words for 10 months. The vandal turns out to be Elaine Meredith, a woman, a 62-year-old widow woman. Not a clue as to why, and she won't say. Backstage with Madonna, the Akron Beacon-Journal discovered bottles of vodka, Absolute vodka. They discovered that nobody is drinking it. Mix it with water, and vodka is perfect for removing sweat stains from clothing. Madonna sweats? ABC and the Washington Post asked cross-section Americans how they like the way President Bush is doing his job. 55% approved. But 2 out of 3 Americans believe that our economy is in bad shape. I wonder if they haven't been unduly influenced by media emphasis on unemployment. By the once-a-month headline that comes out, unemployment X%. Almost nobody ever mentions that 95% of American workers are working. In Staffordshire, England, the local cricket club is training dogs to retrieve lost balls. A cricket ball can cost an average of $600. So 2 Labrador retrievers have found a lot of money this season. 60 lost balls. In the Philippines, renegade bandits are seeking to form a Muslim homeland in a Catholic country. And they're financing their jungle military operations by kidnapping for ransom, and they behead their hostages. They are presently holding some Americans captive, including an American missionary couple, Gracia and Martin Burnham. Hundreds of Afghan boat people tried to sneak into Australia, and Australia refused to admit them. Now a federal court in Australia says that country cannot legally keep them out. The decision will be appealed, but the United Nations is throwing what weight it has into the dispute. The UN's High Commissioner for Refugees insists that Australia must accept these illegals. Well, by George, the Japanese must be doing something right. They live longer than anybody, and the lifespan in Japan is increasing. Presently, there are 15,475 Japanese more than 100 years old. That number's doubled in 5 years. Today, the average Japanese lives 77.64 years. The average Japanese woman, 84.62 years. One Japanese woman is 114. Now, page 4. You have heard FTC reports that half of all of the car repairs that you pay for were not made or were not needed. That is a dreadful indictment. And it's one reason why Paul Harvey recommends that you please call Gemini, G-E-M, G-E-M-I-N-I, Gemini. Because Gemini employs ASE certified technicians. And they'll explain any car problems in advance. You get the diagnosis, then you prescribe the remedy. And the Gemini warranty goes with you from coast to coast with 100... No, we have now 1,800 outlets at select Goodyear retailers. That means Gemini is our nation's leading network of tire and automotive care centers. And there is one near you. From anywhere, you have only to telephone 1-877-GEMINI-1. Right now, there is available a summer car care package for which you pay $100, or you would anyplace else. You get everything: air conditioner, performance check, oil, lube, filter change, tire rotation. You get the works at Gemini for $59. At Gemini right now, $59. So I'll see you there. Locate your nearest Gemini automotive experts with a phone call to 1-877-GEMINI-1. At Bowling Green, Kentucky, campus of State University there, women students in their underwear have been photographed by a peeping Tom with a camcorder outside a bedroom window. The peeper drops some film from his camcorder, and you know that film includes pictures of himself. For what it's worth, I don't know why I thought this appropriate today, a sign in front of a Washington, D.C. church, in front of the 6th Presbyterian Church at 16th Street Northwest. The sign says, "Don't trust to luck. Remember, the rabbit's foot didn't work for the rabbit." Stay tuned to this station, please, for a constant update on this historic day when our nation when our beautiful nation came of age. Paul Harvey. Good day.